Hey guys, welcome back to Over Coffee. I am Elizabeth and I am your podcast host. It's so weird saying that. I wrote a book, Unspoken Goodbyes, in 2025. I can't believe it's 2026. And therefore, with that book came a lot of questions. And, I like to talk a lot. So, Over Coffee, here's your coffee, is all about, the unspoken goodbyes. And last week we talked about not talking and not hearing and things like that. This week we're going to talk about broken trust. And that is when people who should love us hurt us. And it's going to be a deep, big one. So, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about what some people experience as a struggle. And let me just explain broken trust. Okay. So, this is a unique kind of grief. I do have my little notes here. So, I look down, I look at my Bible because I have my Bible here to reference everything. So I like to stay updated and I like to write out my stuff and then I digitally put it all. So I'm not cheating on Over Coffee. So this is, again, it's a unique kind of grief that happens when people who are supposed to protect you, support you, love you, end up hurting you deeply. I mean, this is where unspoken goodbyes starts. It does not have to be about a death. Some of it in your grief will be about that death part. Some of it will be about, maybe there's a divorce, maybe there's a separated relationship. We go through that as humans. We get close to somebody and then it just, something happens and the accountability and things that we think is okay, another person may not feel okay. And so they're hurt. They feel broken. That trust is broken. There's a lot of things that come into play with that. This is the kind of pain that leaves us asking these difficult questions. How do I move forward? How do I forgive? That's a really, really big one. And how do I trust again after being wounded? Which I think, that the how do I move forward and how do I trust again after being wounded? I think that's a side by side. So that's like a tie. As a person that's either broken the trust with somebody or they've broken a trust with me, to me that was really, really big for me to kind of help myself move forward. How did I help myself move forward? I don't know. A lot of questions, a lot of things in the air, a lot of things that had to go with, well, maybe it was my fault. Maybe it was me. Maybe I shouldn't have been so critiqueful. Maybe this, maybe that. It made me question myself a lot. And then I had to go to the Bible. And then I had to, for myself, God and I, we have a great conversation relationship every morning. And there are a lot of times that I'm just like, hey, God, what's up? What happened? Where did I go wrong? Can you show me? Will you please show me in the word where I'm wrong and I need to make it right? So understanding broken trust, that's a big thing. Trust is a foundation for any type of relationship, and that can be personal, work, friendships, loved ones, your spouse, your partner, your dating. That's a big thing. You've got to be able to trust. You've got to be able to have that as a foundation. And certainly with God, God needs you to trust him in everything. And it's hard. It is so hard as Christian here. It is very hard sometimes to trust why he separated a relationship, why he let go of a friendship that I thought was valuable and everything. Why is this happening? So that's where that foundation is. When trust is broken, it doesn't just affect one person or one moment. It changes how we see people and the world. So an example is if, for instance, you had something happen and that trust got broken in a relationship, then the next person that comes to you and starts to befriend you and you're going to have that little, you're going to have these blinders and these, things around you, and it's not going to allow you to see that person because all you're doing is you're not seeing, you're just hearing, and it reminds you too much. So therefore you don't want to get to know that person. What if they trigger something? That's a big thing. Triggering is huge when we've been broken trusted and had trust broken. I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge thing for anybody. Broken trust can come from many places. It can come from a betrayal in a marriage or a relationship. Not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, I've broken my husband's trust a lot of times, and that wasn't cool for me. And it took a minute. It took a minute. And when I say a minute, it could have been 6 months to a year. And he still gets triggered. There's still things, and that's something that, like I said in the beginning, it changes how we see people in the world. So therefore, there's always going to be that moment, but do we stick to that moment? And that's what we'll get into a little bit later. Addiction in the family. That's a big one. I know some people, I've lived it. I know some people that have lived it that have told me their stories, and it's hard. It's hard to trust somebody after, especially when they don't hold themselves accountable, especially when they justify through the means of their thought process because they're addicted to something. That's hard when trust has been broken. Emotional abandonment. Whew, let's not stay on this one because let me tell y'all, emotional abandonment. That's a lot. That's something I speak in Unspoken Goodbyes. It's a lot. I can't even put it into because I have so much thoughts about it. I don't want to just overwhelm you guys, just starting out and stuff. And I just don't want to, get into it or overwhelm it because it's a lot. I mean, that title alone, emotional abandonment, that is a lot. So we're going to take, friends who walked away during difficult seasons. We go through those seasons and periods of times when friends do walk away in difficult seasons, whether you were the one that started it and hurt somebody or somebody hurt you. I mean, friends come and go and they walk away, and where you thought it was happening and it was staying and it was being taken care of, even the apologies happened and they still walk away. Let me tell you something. I've had this happen a lot of times, and whether it was my fault or whether it was the other person's fault, whatever the case is, it's a season. Try not to stick on it and try not to be hyper focused on it. It's just a season. It's kind of like when we put our kids in timeout, right? Because they needed a break from the action that caused them to get into timeout. That's what we do as friends. That's what we do as loving people. We put ourselves in a timeout and gather our thoughts, get unemotional about it, and then come back. And if they come back, it's great. If they don't, then hey, that's okay too. It sucks and it's hard and it makes you emotional. That doesn't mean that regardless if you were the doer or the one being it done to, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. So try not to get stuck in your head. And parents who cause deep wounds. I mean, that's another level of where broken trust can come from. I've had that, I talk freely about my mom in my unspoken goodbyes and the hurt and the pain. It was hard, but at the end of the day, I forgave her, and that was hard because the forgiveness wasn't for me to hear her say she was wrong. The forgiveness came for when I was able to say I forgive you, because I was able to let that go and move forward in my life, so that part didn't stick with me, so I wouldn't carry that bondage onto my children, onto my adult children. And to this day, it's still hard, where they can't see, hearing me say, I forgive you. And they're like, I'm not going to apologize for that. I don't need you to. I really don't. This is for me so I can move forward. So I don't stay stuck. So I don't stay bitter. So when trust breaks, guys, the pain lingers because the heart expected safety from that person. Okay. Why betrayal? Why does the betray part hurt so deeply? Betrayal hurts deeply because it shatters expectations. We have a set of expectations, realistic and unrealistic. Whew. Let me tell y'all, that was a really rough one for my husband and I. When we were doing our coaching, we had to do some realistic and unrealistic expectation exercises. We stayed on that, just that part of the whole chapter, just that part for like 6 to 8 months because it was too much. If anybody knows me, I have a lot of unrealistic expectations. I did. That was one of those things where I'm just like, ugh, You should have known though. So again, it shatters the expectations when betrayal hurts deeply because of that expectation. I think, in my experience, whenever we are talking about expectations and realistic and unrealistic expectations, I think we need to just step back and think, hey, what is the expected expectation in this relationship? What is it? Do I know that this person, like for instance, I have a family member, and so do I expect them to contact me, but not as much because they're going through something, and therefore, it's not going to be a weekly or a monthly thing. It could be bi-monthly, it could be bi-yearly, but I expect that from this person because that's who they are. So why would I expect the unrealistic? I need to talk to you right now, and I'm getting hurt, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. There's a lot of things there. You need to be able to set realistic and unrealistic expectations, period, in anything, whether it's work, relationships, your parents, if you're an adult child. Set those boundaries, set those realistic and unrealistic expectations. So that way it helps you. That's all I can say with that. When someone close to you hurts us, it also creates a confusion. Like, how could they do this to me? Did they even really care? Was any of it real? These questions are a part of a grieving process. Those are all actual justifiable questions. How do you handle it? How would you handle it? Betrayal doesn't only damage a relationship, it can damage our ability to trust ourselves, others, and sometimes even God. I mean, let's just take a moment. How many times have we said, where was God in this? What did I do? What is happening? I say that constantly, by the way. What is happening? Um, because it's hard. Hey, a side note here. I don't want to get into that thing. Side note, I say a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm not some master speaker, but I do say a lot. So I'm just letting you guys know because that's my personality. I say a lot. I'm going to work on that in the next few episodes. So y'all comment below how many times I said in a video. Comment below. Tell me how many times. Shoot me a message. Go to my website. Tell me how many times, and we'll see how many times I do it. And let's see if I go down. Anyway, back to the point. It's it's so hard to trust ourselves. And let me tell y'all something. It is hard enough that we critique our own selves. We are the worst critics, right? We are our own worst critics. But then when somebody hurts us and damages us, and that trust is so hurtful, we not only are we critiquing ourselves, now we've got a double whammy. So it's like double pressure. I mean, we're squeezing this bottle. It's double because now we aren't even able to trust ourselves. I mean, we can't even. So we are pushing this down. I really hope this doesn't go into my iPad. And we are pressing it so hard because not only do we critique ourselves, okay, there's that part. Now we can't even trust anybody because they hurt us. I mean, and gosh knows what else we put on ourselves. So there's that, you guys. It's so hard to find the why and why betrayal hurts us so deeply. It's so hard. How could they do this? Did they even really care? Was any of it real? And then it makes us think about it can damage our ability, like for ourselves, for other people, and questioning God. That, as humans, we do that. We do that. We question God a lot. But the question for you is, when do we question ourselves on why we are doing that? We need to be able to name the emotion, name the betrayal that they did. Addiction could be alcohol, meth, heroin, hoarding. That's an addiction. Compulsive spending. That's an addiction. And then going down the line, why? Why is that a problem? What happened? And then you're being able to, write it out. Post-its, write out the problem, and then figure it out and kind of like dissect it. So that way you can figure out where it came from, how it happened. And then you have to make a choice. You are the only one that makes a choice on whether to forgive or not to forgive. Signs that we're still carrying trust wounds. I mean, guys, this is a big one, because I did this. Sometimes we think we've moved on, but our reactions, keyword for those people who react, keyword reactions, reveal that there are wounds still there. I can't tell you how many times I personally reacted in a way that came off to my spouse or my kids, older kids, that they were like, "What is happening with you?" What is wrong with you? It was because I was still carrying those hurtful wounds from my past. I mean, I've always told my kids, your past doesn't define you. But sometimes those wounds are still carrying on, and it's hard to let it go. You think you did. I mean, if you're anything like me, you forgave yourself, you forgave the person, and then you're thinking, okay, all good. And then something happens, and then you're like, wow, well, I guess I wasn't all good. But in reality, you were all good. It's just that maybe I personally didn't dig deep into why that happened. So signs that, for me that I wrote down, it was difficult letting people in. I didn't want to let people in, but sometimes it's counteractive for me. Maybe that's the right word. I tend to let too many people in and then I weed them out because that's just me. I don't want to leave anybody out. I think that's a deeper thing that with me. Always expecting the worst from others. How many of us have done that? Waiting for the shoe to drop, waiting for something. So therefore we're still, I mean, if you're doing that, can I just give you a little secret here? If you're constantly dealing with something that is causing you to think, oh, ball's going to drop, ball's going to drop, ball's going to drop. I better get ahead of it. It's not because of just that person. It could be something in your past that you probably haven't dealt with, probably haven't acknowledged, or you're so scared and afraid of that pain that it's just too much. Please reach out to somebody. Please, please, please reach out to somebody if you're feeling that, because it's just going to continue and continue and continue, and that cycle is never going to change, and it's going to end up hurting a lot of people before it gets any better. And there's so many people out there that can help, whether it's in therapy, coaching, a book, a podcast, anything and everything. There is something out there for what that emotion is. So please reach out. Feeling anxious when somebody gets too emotionally close. I don't think I'm an anxious person per se. I think that, see, there's another one. How many am I up to? In my head, I'm thinking 15. I think there's feelings whenever I'm feeling maybe anxious because somebody's getting too close to me. Just my, I think it's just a reaction, I believe, but maybe it is anxious feelings because somebody's getting too close. And maybe that's something that is because I'm still carrying trust wounds. And then becoming overly independent because relying on others feels unsafe. For me, though, guys, becoming overly independent was causing me to become overly emotional spending, emotional getting out there with others, and not dealing with the pain, which was trust issues, or yeah, basically it was trust issues. I just couldn't, and I didn't, and it was too much, and I just couldn't. These responses aren't weaknesses, guys. It's just there are protective responses on wounded hearts. So I think that if we can just name the emotion and try to figure out our time that we're going to heal, I think it would help you guys move forward. Not all the way, because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. When you start feeling that pressure on you, it's going to get deeper and deeper, and then you're going to be like, nope, too much, too much. I can't, and I don't want to. It's going to hurt too much. I get it. You're just going to have to put it down and then pick it up again, and just keep pressing until it can dig, until it can get there, and you feel comfortable with acknowledging it and how you're going to move forward. So, boundary versus bitterness. You guys, one of the most important lessons that I had to learn is understanding the difference between boundary and bitterness. Huge, huge, huge for me. Boundaries protect my emotional and spiritual health, but bitterness keeps me tied to the emotional part of that pain. It's because I'm just so still angry. I'm still so frustrated. But the boundaries protect the emotional and the spiritual, which means me choosing to give it to God, me choosing to say, hey, I'm going to still be a part of this person's life and I can have a healthy boundary for that. But on the other hand, bitterness, you're still emotionally tied to that pain. So therefore, when you talk to that person, you're not going to hear the new stuff that's coming in. You're going to continue to hear that bad stuff and that bitter and that anger, and you're not going to be able to move forward and talk to that person. So just stop, period. Just stop talking to the person. Stop. Okay? It's not healthy for us to continually blame and continue to stab them. We have to forgive. If you want to move forward, that's the secret, is to forgive. That doesn't mean that you don't have to forget, but it does mean for you when you don't have to forget that still bring it up. That's not okay. You're intertwining all the right and wrong into one, and that's not okay, guys. It's not okay for us to say that we forgive you, but we don't have to forget, but we also don't have to keep reminding. Stop. Just stop. Especially if you guys got kids involved. Just saying. I did it. So just saying. Didn't get me anywhere. Because let me ask you, how well is it working out? How's your sleep? How's your work? How's it going for you guys? Because you want to keep bitter and you want to keep angry and you want to keep the remembrance and you want to keep reminding yourself of what they did. How's it working out for you? Is it working well? Your relationship's good? Just saying. Just saying. You know why I'm saying it? And you know why I'm passionate? Because I did it. Been there, done that. Didn't get me anywhere. You know what it got me? It got me broken relationships, broken trust, a broken heart, a stuck, indecisiveness, anxiety. I don't think I got depressed as much. It got me a lot of things that just wasn't working for me. I need y'all to ask yourself these 3 questions. What trust wound am I still carrying? Have I allowed myself to acknowledge the depth of the pain? And the last one, I think, really, really triggered me to be like, how was that working out for me? What would healing look like for me? Those are 3 questions, guys, that can help you guys get over this. And I just want to give you some faith perspective. If you're a Christian and you're listening, if you're uncertain, I hope you still listen to the podcast. But for me and for God, these have really helped me. Psalm 34:18, the Lord is near the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit. Oh my goodness. He does. It's flipping amazing. Another one that I really, really liked. Hold on. Let's see. My things. Another one that was really kind of, for me was Psalm 41:9. Even my friend in whom I trusted, one who ate my bread, has raised his heel against me. That one is the betrayal from a trusted people, is one of the deepest humans' pains. And even David experienced the betrayal from someone close to him. But feeling hurt doesn't mean someone lacks faith. It doesn't. It doesn't do that at all. If Jesus was betrayed himself, the disciples were hurt by other people and by their own friends. There's a lot of things there. For us as Christians, it is so hard for us sometimes to show grace and mercy. And I'm reminded that through all of it, through all of the pain and all of the hurt, that whether it was a person or I did to somebody else, I'm reminded that God does show grace. And there's a lot of times that I had to fall on my knees and apologize, not to get that friendship back, but to realize I was not being gracious and merciful. And it wasn't, because I allowed the emotional pain from something else to intercede into it, even though I didn't know what was happening. And I could see that, and then apologizing for that. That's really big. And I don't need that person's, okay, I forgive you. What I needed was my accountability for myself, to know that that was wrong. And God is the one that holds me account, that ultimately I want him to forgive me. Would it help that that person or my loved one or somebody say, yes, I forgive you? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's my God that I know I need him to forgive me. Everything else comes to play. Some of us feel that broken trust. Why do we often blame ourselves when somebody else breaks us out there? It's Many people automatically we humans turn inward after a betrayal, period. But instead of recognizing the other person's choices, we start questioning ourselves. So here, the emotional questions we should be that they ask themselves is why was I not enough, or did I miss the signs? How also, whenever we blame ourselves, it's how childhood experiences or post trauma can amplify self blame. Then there's the difference between self reflection and unhealthy self blame. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play with this, you guys, and it's so hard for us as people to see it and to hear ourselves when we go through that. Now, how can someone forgive while still maintaining healthy boundaries? The difference between forgiveness and reconciliation, that's a huge thing. We talked about that, forgiving and reconciling. Those are all things that you would have to make a choice on. Why forgiveness is more about personal freedom than about saving a relationship? That's a big question you guys got to ask yourselves. And the emotional relief that it comes in releasing resentment. Guys, that's a really big one, but these are all questions I'm giving you to ask yourself about how can you forgive while, maintaining that healthy boundary. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many people believe forgiving someone means allowing them back in that same position in your life. And that's clearly, truly not things. I just need y'all to understand forgiveness can happen even if the relationship never returns. Okay. It can happen. You guys just got to work on that. So, can relationships ever truly recover after trust is broken? I think one of the biggest questions you have to ask yourself is whether the relationships is worth reconciling or if it's just going to continue the pattern. So, some of the situations rebuilding trust can be possible. The role of accountability, honesty, and time in repairing a relationship. That's really big, especially if you guys have experienced a huge broken trust, whether it's through addiction, divorce, separation, loss of a parent child relationship. That's all kind of big. Why rebuilding trust requires consistent action, not just words. That's really big. Another thing that you could ask yourself is, when may it be healthier to step away rather than rebuild? I mean, again, these are all questions and choices on you, and recognizing that every relationship situation is different. I would just encourage you guys to understand that healing doesn't always mean restoring. And in the relationship, it may mean restoring peace within yourself. I just want y'all to understand it does not always mean restoring that relationship. It just means restoring the peace within yourself. And that's a lot. That's a pain that can dig, or it doesn't have to be digged. I just want you to take some time and trust and grow again slowly and safely. I really need y'all to understand that dealing with somebody or dealing with a situation that has caused broken trust is not going to heal overnight. It's not going to help y'all overnight. You can listen to my podcast, you can listen to anybody's podcast. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to take that time. You have to be able and willing to take that time. I mean, if you want to stay in resentment and bitter and angry, go ahead. By all means, keep doing that. I'm going to ask you, how's it working out for you? Because you won't see it within you and that one person. You'll see it with other stuff, jobs, people, a waitress or waiter at a restaurant. You just go off. How's it working for you guys? I know for me, I was tired of being stuck in the fact that I was constantly upset or constantly in a place where I couldn't breathe, not physically breathe, but emotionally breathe. I couldn't do it. There was too many, I couldn't even see because look, it's like this. But once I decided to take one thing off and and then another one and then another one and then another, I was able to see again. I actually had a face. I actually had a smile. I had eyes. I had a nose. I had hair. I had ears because I decided that I was going to heal myself inwardly. And if relationship survived, great. If it didn't, it just wasn't the right relationship. So it's okay. It's okay, guys. If that relationship never gets mended, that's okay. I would encourage y'all to mend yourselves and talk about it. Talk about it. I want to leave with a few things. Number one, if you are not ready to talk to somebody, but you need something, Rachel Hollis offers these Start Today journals. And in here, like for me, one of the last ones I wrote in here. So here, this is a blank one. So it comes with, today I'm grateful for you do 5 things and the 10 dreams I made happen. And these 10 dreams are stuff that is completely up to you. So like on this one, it has 2018. I wrote down that day and then to lose 50 pounds, have girls graduate in 2019 of May, write my first book, save 4K, move out of state, all these things. And then you come back, and these are all 10 things that I wanted, and I could go back now, and I've already lost 50 pounds. Actually, I lost 110. I'm a published author, things like that. But, something, maybe get a journal and do something like that. And then a book, a great book to deal with while you're going through your broken trust issue. Broken trust when the people who should love us hurt us, is Untangle Your Emotions. This is a great Jennie Allen book. I loved this book. I have bought many copies and given them to friends, especially who couldn't go out and actually COVID and all that stuff, still having issues and still hurt by their wounds. It's just a great book, you guys. And also another book that I highly recommend is, of course, Unspoken Goodbyes. It's my story. It's got journal prompts in here, things that will help you, just little journal prompts, discussions on things that you can always do. You guys, I have enjoyed talking to you about this. I know that this is probably going to hit some people, and I am expecting that to happen. And some things that can also happen is just not ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay. Do not think that I need you to be superwoman or telling you need to do this and you need to do that if you want to get out of healing. It's not my choice to tell you that. You know what it is? It's your choice. It's going to be your choice at the end of the day, whether you forgive and forget. And forgetting doesn't mean bringing up the past again. It doesn't. But what it can do is relieve you. It can help you see, because if you're like this, you're just not going to see anything. You're just going to be like this. Don't you want to see and breathe and see your smile again? But it's up to you. But I will always be here for you guys. You guys can get on my link, elizabethkgreen.com. I do personal and grief coaching. I would love to talk to you. If you don't know me and you want to be able to talk to somebody, but you don't want to go to your local hometown person because they know you or maybe they know your family, then let's talk. Let's chat. If not, get yourself a journal. Write it. It's okay. Name your emotion. Try to figure it out. It's okay. You're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. If you need me, you'll know how to get in touch with me. Bye, guys. Until next time, see you again right over coffee.